This is Charter Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance inside the Tennessee State Capitol. We are joined by Bill Ketron. He is the GOP Caucus Chair of the Tennessee State Senate. I am so glad you're here.
Thank you so much, Brad.
I think about you and I think about the last year and a half and what a journey you have been on. As our viewers may or may not know, you have beat back cancer and you are all the more strong for it.
Thank you. I'm so blessed. So blessed just to be here.
Right.
It was an amazing journey, but a lot of prayer and
your wife.
That prayer lifted me up
Right.
and gave me the positive attitude.
Right.
To get through that journey.
And your daughter, your wife,
That's
they were
correct.
there for you.
My great caregivers.
Right. I had mentioned I'm a caregiver to my wife, who's doing much better. She has Crohn's and colitis, but I know how challenging it can be to be part of a family where someone's battling. And
Sure.
I want to talk about what this journey has meant to you. Look, we know, given that we've been facing life-threatening illnesses, my wife, yours, yourself,
Sure.
that they can be very expensive to beat.
Absolutely.
And I want to get a sense from you what you've learned about cancer drugs, whether they are delivered intravenously or orally. Because intuitively you would think the oral medication would be cheaper than the intravenous medication, but it's not that way.
Well, it's not, but that's changing very quickly as more pharmaceutical companies are coming out with most of your new chemo treatments are in pill form.
Right.
And all the new drugs. But it cost $1 billion in 8 to 9 years of that journey for Pfizer or
Right.
Merck or anybody.
My dad's a pharmacist.
Yeah, to bring
Right.
one drug to the market. So you're paying for all that research dollars as you go along. But prices are beginning to fall. What I learned, Brad, was I had 2 ports.
Right.
And one was the first time I got my chemo through this port on my right-hand side. And after my spots didn't go away, then we decided to go stem cell because it was an aggressive form of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And so we had to get another port put in for that process of the heaviest chemo I'd had up to that point. And what I learned while sitting in the waiting room, waiting to be called back to see the doctor to go through all the tests and the educational process of the stem cell and et cetera, I would see other patients coming in. And they would drive as far away as Kentucky or Jamestown, Tennessee, with their caregiver, and they'd be sitting there feeling as bad, if not worse, than what I was feeling. And I said, wouldn't it just make more sense to take a pill and let them take that pill at home where they can lay down on the couch and suffer through the nausea and all the other symptoms that go along with the chemo, as opposed to having to travel with a caregiver, get a motel room, spend 8 hours in a chemo suite, and see those numbers are never factored in of what it costs for a rental on a chemo suite with the 2 nurses attached to you for 8 hours and all the chemo drugs.
But the challenge has been that when the insurance companies look at the medications and they decide how the patient will pay their portion, they have been charging more to the patient for the pills.
Yeah, exactly.
As opposed to the IV.
Under the pharmaceutical portion of their hospitalization major medical plan compared to the medical part. But this bill that I carried this year has already passed in 40 different states. Right. So those same carriers that were working to kill my bill have already passed it, and they're paying it in 40 different states, which just, is beyond me.
But what's interesting, and again, we're dealing with people, but I do want to talk about kind of the philosophy behind what's been happening with your bill, which seeks parity for pill form versus IV.
injectable.
There's a general feeling amongst the state Senate that we want to avoid mandates,
Right.
especially on insurance, because the studies have come out which suggest that when you have mandates, premiums go up.
Sure.
So while intuitively we feel as if something's wrong here, there's this sense that let the market decide. But even the federal government has said parity on medication is not a mandate.
Well, because my bill was not a new mandate, it was not a new benefit. Whereas if, like the proton fusion machine,
Right.
that bill came out this year up in Knoxville, that died, that would be a new benefit under the coverage plans to pay for it. Mine was not. Medicare and Medicaid both say, since it's not a new benefit, then they don't consider it a mandate.
What I found fascinating is the National Federation of Independent Business, who is notorious, or I shouldn't say notorious, that suggests negative, who is known for coming out against these types of bills, went neutral.
They went neutral.
If they went neutral, that says a lot.
That says a whole lot. And I was so shocked when Jim Brown says we're neutral on it because of staying at home. They saw the benefits, or even in pill form, patients. Many patients continue to work.
Right.
Plus the loss of the caregiver. Sometimes they have to give up their job as well. So they figured, and they couldn't really come out and be for it, but they weren't neutral on it.
There was also a concern that so often states will pass, we'll call it mandates, whatever word you want to use, items that only apply to private industry but not to the public corollary of that. So in Tennessee, that would be TennCare.
That's correct.
But your bill applied to TennCare.
That's correct.
So it seemed as if you were trying to dot all your I's and cross all your T's.
I did.
But yet, when you got to committee, what happened?
Well, I thought I had the votes, and then I had people backing up on me. From the very beginning, I brought all the stakeholders together, you know, the United, the Blue Crosses, the Cignas of the world. We all sat down, and I thought I had a clear understanding. My bill was actually under the code caption. It was under health and not under the mandate code.
That's also, you dotted that I.
You know,
right.
and only because their request, I thought in good faith, I would transfer that over and put it in the mandate code for us to continue, but they led me to believe that there wouldn't be a problem if I moved it over the mandate code, and then they used it against me.
So it died, 3-6 in Senate Commerce. Is the bill going to come back, or is it dead forever?
No, I'm coming back.
You're coming, but you know that.
I'm coming back next year.
You know that. So does that mean the bill is?
The bill's coming with me. Matter of fact, I met with the folks from the Lymphoma Society and other groups last night. We got together and kind of started strategizing how they're going to get out and start marketing now.
Right. If 40 other states have passed this, can you look to some of Tennessee's sister states to see, especially those that may be redder, I guess you could say, to see what did they do that convinced their members that this was the right thing to do?
Well, we did.
You did that already?
Yeah, we've done research on every state. You know, we've gone in and viewed their videos of how they presented it, et cetera.
Right.
You know, prepared ourselves to answer all the questions that would come along with it. It's just that our chairman, and he dug in and was able to convince enough votes to kill the bill.
I understand the current lieutenant governor was lukewarm.
He was.
So he's moving on.
He's moving on.
And so could it be that with new leadership, we can see a different tone?
Well, it could be, and especially if one person's being talked about becomes lieutenant governor, he's a pharmacist, retired. You know, so it could make a difference.
That could make a huge difference.
Sure could.
So as we conclude, how have these last few months been for you as you've been fighting for this? Has it been cathartic? Has it been frustrating? Has it been all of the above? None of the above?
All of the above.
Right.
I was really crushed in that my friends wouldn't look at me in the hall, my colleagues, and they would walk by me because they didn't, you know, just man up. Come tell me that you're against it and the reason why, and I'll accept that. But don't avoid me. Don't quit being my friend. You know, just tell me you're going to work against it, and that's what really disappointed me.
And you'll be back.
I'll be back.
His name is Bill Ketron. He is a member of the Tennessee State Senate. He is a cancer survivor.
Thank you.
I am so glad he's here today. My name is Brad Pomerance, Charter Local Edition.